There's a mass of information in the morph waiting for you to connect with it, and it will talk to you, I promise you. And even if at first you can't see, then you might have to create a threshold experience for yourself. Here's one way. Set aside a few days when you're off work to be on your own and in silence out in nature, up in the mountains. You might need to pull away from the stress and worry of your life and the day-to-day circumstances, for that can warp your image of self and corrupt your perception of life. This is because when we live in our emotions and our thinking, we lose connection with spirit and the sacred nature of who we really are and what this life is about, which is remembering who you are. A simple example would be if you have allowed your life to become very repetitive and boring. Soon your mind comes to believe that nothing unusual could ever happen and that life is always flat and dull. What you believe is what you see, and it's also what you get. So that dullness and a lack of imagination eventually becomes all that you see. Sometimes your relationships are loving and they sustain you, and sometimes they're so scary and so toxic you lose sight of who you are. You forget to tend to yourself. You become a slave to the ideals of another, to what you think they want from you. By getting away, you rediscover yourself. You get to turn within and see what light is in there and how to guard it better. I take time out of my own quite regularly. Sometimes I go on the road for months at a time, on my own, just traveling about. It's vital to me. And yes, it can be a lonely journey, but in the quietness, or when walking in nature, I see beyond the boundaries of my life, and I see things I never saw before. So the first liberation is to allow all those that have hurt you to go on their way. And the second liberation, you let go of any clusters that trap you. You can go beyond the struggle in this life. It comes mostly from the fake you. The authentic you is holy and good and sacred. And by understanding it, you will create your own secret heaven in the roof of the gymnasium of your soul. And you can have your own world and your own title on the shelf. The authentic you, not the fake you. You can agree to be a fringe dweller and silently proud of it. Not just to see the spiritual being that you are, but also to understand that there is a way of making peace with humanity, even inside what are often very restrictive, controlling systems that have enormous power over you. You can quietly wander off in your mind and your soul and eventually belong to something else. The authentic you has enormous power. When you join it and become the same as it, a synapse of energy takes place. It's a burst of light, caused by a sudden fluctuation in the quantum field. This is vital to your enlightenment. If you don't collapse the illusion voluntarily, it is eventually collapsed for you. If you can control the collapse gradually, it's much less painful than when it comes upon you in a fast hurry, imposed from elsewhere. Let me explain. The reason why people feel blank and hopeless and in despair at this time is because they don't have the power of their own soul to drive them along. It is as if the real you is locked away, held prisoner in the tower by the phony you. I don't know if you've ever felt that there was something terribly wrong, something missing in your life, a splinter in your mind, as Morpheus says in the Matrix film. The missing bit is in the mirror world. There's another you, the feeling you, that is formed by the subconscious mind. It is the storehouse of your dreams. It is the authentic you. It is the perpetual memory of you, your soul. Once you come back and retrieve it, suddenly all sorts of creativity and possibilities come from within you, and you have the opportunity to garner real worth in your life. Sure, that might be a nice money-making idea, or it could just be newfound friendships and a sense of belonging. Abundance is not necessarily cash. It's the warmth of humanity and animals around you. It's service to mankind, and it is being served. It probably wasn't really your fault. We are driven by fear and inadequacy and bad luck and poor choices. We are driven by many factors. This is not a level playing field, and so you should not be too harsh on yourself and others. Is it all about you and what you want in this lifetime, or are you aligned to the needs of others? How much love do you offer, and how much silent resentment and hate? Are you an angel in disguise or a hidden predator? Are you stingy or generous? Are you open and accepting or closed down and dogmatic? Do you cast a kind eye to everyone and a deep sense of justice and acceptance? Live and let live. Or are you judgmental and cruel towards others? The way to work this out is this. Think about someone you don't really agree with. Then ask yourself if you respect them anyway. Do you care for their humanity even if you don't like them? Do you care for their soul even if you virulently disagree with their opinions and their actions in life? The reason why this type of equanimity is vital is that in the mirror world, any kind of judgment or antagonism will soon take your spirit down. It's a bad trait to find fault in others and to denigrate them and make them wrong. You eventually want your life to be seen as proper and right. How will you do that if you don't offer that to others, if you've always made them wrong? Taking an equitable stance towards humanity is the only safe way to go across to the mirror world.